Good morning, everybody. Welcome back through installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, January 20th. For you in today's play of the day, quick recap what happened yesterday. We had a loss in college basketball with Washington State and Utah under 130.5 at minus 110 on FanDuel. Unfortunately for us, we praised Washington State's defense for the past couple of weeks, and yet they no-showed the game because Utah ended up shooting over 55% from the floor, shot over 40% from three, scored 77 points. Washington State offensively stunk, so we got that part of the equation right. But Utah really could not miss the entire night, and they sent the game over. So look for a bounce-back winner here on Friday. But for today's play, they go into pivot to tennis. We'll get the Australian Open in the third round. We'll get a matchup between Dimitrov and Djokovic taking place on Tuesday at roughly 3 in the morning. And for this matchup, going to actually take the underdog here. We're going to take Dimitrov plus 7.5 games at minus 135 on DraftKings. Time recording of Friday, 3 a.m. Eastern time. Cover reasons why I like Dimitrov to keep this match close. First reason, shopping around minus 135 is a great price. FanDuel has the 7.5 games line at minus 180. So you're saving 45 cents. No questions asked just by shopping around, which I'll gladly do. But there's a big reason why Djokovic has seen his future odds to win the tournament, his quarter odds, and even the money line price for this match plummet in the last couple of hours. It's because the hamstring has been bothering Djokovic for about a week or so, and it's gotten worse, and we saw that in the second round. To look at the actual matchup itself against Grigor, who was a French qualifier, Djokovic won the match. However, he didn't really look good, and he ended up going to 4 sets. He lost a set to the French qualifier, despite being roughly minus 10,000 on the money line, which tells me that Djokovic is really not near 100%. I think if I had to guess, he's probably close to 60, but you're looking at the actual match itself, and Grigor got hurt as well, so he kind of fell apart down the stretch. But Djokovic really struggled at various points with his movement throughout the match, and I think as a result, Dimitrov could really turn this match into a competitive one, and I think Djokovic could be on, I don't want to say potential upset alert, because I still think Djokovic has a good chance to win the match. That's why he's favored by a decent amount. But for his standards, I think he's going to look significantly compromised, and I think that Dimitrov is a good enough player to at least make this match extremely close. And to look at the actual performances, I mentioned that Djokovic had his battles with the hamstring injury last round. He had his leg wrapped for a decent portion of that match. And you're looking at the quotes from the post-match. Djokovic really had some concerning quotes about the hamstring. To quote him directly, he said, quote, "I am worried. I mean, I cannot say that I'm not. I have reason to be worried. But at the same time, I have to accept the circumstances and try to adjust myself with my team. My physio and medical team have been doing everything possible so that I can be able to play every match." So on one hand, he got through it, survived in advance. On the other hand, he admitted that he's concerned about the hamstring, and he also stated that his medical team's doing everything possible so he can play. Now, you could argue that there might be a bit of a language barrier there when he said to play instead of to dominate or win every match. But it seems like Djokovic is really recognizing the dire concerns of his hamstring, and he's just trying to tough it out, which, don't get me wrong, he could potentially do. But laying 7.5 games with a messed up hamstring, that's not going to get better over time. To make matters worse, Djokovic said during the tournament in that same interview, he has not been able to practice because of the hamstring. So usually you see players on the practice court on their days off trying to stay loose. He can't even practice because his hamstring's that bad. So you're looking at the medical ailments that he's dealing with, and the fact that Dimitrov, on the other hand, has been very good in the first 2 rounds. I think this is going to be a very interesting match. And you're looking at Dimitrov in those first 2 rounds. He's been incredible. He ended up beating Karatsev in straight sets. Then he beat Grigor in the second round in straight sets. Did not even drop 4 games in a set. So he completely dominated, finished the match in roughly an hour and 30. Djokovic's second round match took over 3 hours. So Dimitrov was on the court for roughly half the time Djokovic was in the second round, and he's looked great, not dropping a single set. I like the form he's in, and I think Djokovic can potentially be taken here with the injury. I think 7.5 is too many games. I think that Dimitrov is good enough to win at least 4 games in each set, maybe go to a breaker. But once again, you don't even need to win a set. You can just take a competitive loss of 6-4, 6-4, 6-3, or even a breaker, and you win. But you're looking at the head-to-head matchups, and Djokovic has a great head-to-head against basically everybody. He's 9-1 in the head-to-head. However, the matches have been competitive, especially on hard court. Now, they have not played since 2019. Djokovic has been one of the best players in the world for X amount of years, so I do think that I can still use those as a decent, I'd say, sample. But looking at the actual matchups on hard court, played in the Masters 1000 event in Paris in 2019, Djokovic won, but it was 7-6, 6-4. They played in Cincinnati in 2018. Djokovic won, but that did go 3 sets out of 3. So Dimitrov won a set there that was competitive. They played in Masters 1000 once again in 2016. Djokovic won, did go 3 sets again. You get the point. The point is Dimitrov has been competitive in these matches on hard courts in the past. And I think with Djokovic being injured and with Dimitrov being in great form, I think he's going to keep this one close. I just think 7.5 is too many games for an injured player. It was kind of similar to I can't say the McDonald situation against Nadal, because Nadal hurt his hip midway through. But you saw Nadal wasn't exactly looking sharp entering the match, and McDonald kind of was. And as a result, you saw Nadal end up losing that match, but he was down 2-0 before. He ended up aggravating the hip. Technically, he was down basically 1.5. He was down a break in the second set. But you get my point. The point is Djokovic is severely compromised. Dimitrov's not. And even though Djokovic has done well in the head-to-head winning-wise, he's not exactly dominated Dimitrov in the past. And I think that as a result, this match should be competitive. So give me Dimitrov to keep this one close. And I think you'll end up seeing a very competitive match. Play that once again here for Friday, January 20th is going to be on Dimitrov plus 7.5 games at minus 135 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.